I became more proficient songwriting and writing lyrics. And I noticed as I listened to the world of music that there were a lot of really beautiful love songs out there. Really great love songs. And then there were all these other songs masquerading as love songs that were really about taking hostages. I have this list called the Top 10 Whiny Victim Love Songs. Can't live if living is without you. Everybody, I can't give anymore. How'd that feel? It sounded pathetic. It's a very, very simple chorus to this song. It's only 4 words. When we get there, if you want to sing along, that'd be great. When I was a boy, each week, Sunday we would go to church, pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word, consecrate the holy bread. Everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. 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 Let me hear you. Hey, everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When holy water was rare at best, barely wet my fingertips. Now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven second rate, hand me down. I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. 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 Do you believe that? Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. This morning outside I stood, saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. Made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. There used to be a world half there, heaven second rate, hand me down. I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Come on, let me hear you. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Like you mean it. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy. Okay, now like you're Baptist. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Yeah, everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. One more time. Everything is holy now. Everything is holy Everything, everything, everything is holy now.
Thank you very much, Greg. If you would please join me in our statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the Good. Amen. So good morning to all of you sitting here in the sanctuary and to all of those at home who are joining us through the live streaming. We are so glad that you are here. If anyone is present or viewing for the first time, we welcome you and hope you will join us again. After our service, our ambassador Stella in the gold stove will be in the back with an informational packet and a mug that you can drink coffee or anything you want out of. Please check in on Facebook, telling your friends and family that you are here at Unity of Springfield, and then if you would please silence or turn off your phone. Please join me in our mission statement. Together, our mission is to encourage and inspire spiritual and personal growth by empowering each other to be authentically all that we came here to be. Let's speak together the affirmation for today's daily word. My relationships are commitments of love and compassion. Our daily word is, throughout life, I will be blessed by many relationships. However, first and foremost of importance is my relationship with God. Knowing that God and I are partners in life, I trust divine wisdom to establish love and compassion in all of my other relationships. I maintain a harmonious, loving relationship with my family. I continually bless them in prayers for their well-being and strength, for their security and guidance. Clear and active communication is essential in every friendship or partnership. So I remain open and honest in my relationship with others and encourage them to be open and honest with me. In all my associations, the commitment of my love and compassion helps in establishing meaningful relationships. The scripture for today is Psalm 49:3. Together, the meditation of my heart shall be understanding. Let's repeat the affirmation together. My relationships are commitments of love and compassion. As Dee comes up to ring the prayer bowl and John comes up to play some background music for us, please hold the following people in prayer for their highest good. Don, Jim, G, Beth, Steve, Carolyn, Clay, Darren, Patrick, Peggy, Susan, Rebecca, Eleanor, Art, Jean Ann, Dusty, Brittany, Jennifer, Ron, Rose, and anyone else you choose to include in prayer. Melt into the sounds coming from the prayer bowl that are attuned to our heart chakra. Let them open your heart for loving yourself and all others. All others. Embrace the sounds and feel of the love filling you, a love always present. The vibrations of the prayer bowl send energy to awaken our awareness of the Christ presence within. Picture spirit acting in, as, and through you. Inhale. Exhale. For the names placed on our prayer list, for everyone present in the sanctuary, and everyone in our online community, we pray for the highest and best for all of us. For all of us, we affirm healing of mind, body, and spirit, guidance to make the right choices, comfort and support for experiences less than we might have chosen, appreciation for all experiences, knowing there is a lesson for our good, peace that surpasses all understanding, and love that nurtures, protects, and assures us we are all worthy. For everyone on earth, we affirm equal treatment and acceptance for all with no reservations, health and wellness, safety, security, a flow of abundance for every area of our lives, loving relationships with oneself and with family and friends, inner peace and spiritual connection. We live in an unlimited universe, and there is always more than enough. we send out blessings to embrace our spiritual community, extending out through our city, our state, and country, all nations. May the human spirit be honored and respected. Inclusivity with no reservations is assured. Caring for the environment comes natural to all. May divisiveness and mistrust be replaced with harmony and truth in the United States and in all countries. We visualize peace in our country and in all countries, all governments, true peace on earth. We are so blessed, and we share with those near and far the warm, inclusive, welcoming, loving energy we feel here in our sanctuary, with our online congregation, with our spiritual community. We know we are so blessed and in a state of constant, limitless gratitude. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce the musician and speaker this morning, Mr. Greg Tamblyn, who has absolutely no credentials whatsoever. Greg combines a lifetime of interest in consciousness and wellness with an irreverent sense of humor. His songs and stories range from a deeply spiritual to irreverently funny, including The Shootout at the I'm Okay, You're Okay Corral and Jesus Was a Bachelor. Many of Greg's songs have won awards, including a recent Lifetime Achievement Award and the Posy Music Awards, the Grammys of Positive Music. Nice. We will get to hear some of these award-winning songs in his talk today and also later in his comedy concert. Greg performs internationally for a wide variety of groups interested in wellness, and once a year leads small tours of positive spiritual people to fun, exotic destinations. Yes, indeed. He has written and recorded 7 CDs, plus a book of true stories that open the heart and tickle the funny bone. They are all available here today at his table in the foyer. His opening mission in life is saving the world from whiny victim love songs. Mr. Greg Tamblyn, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. It's so much fun to be back. I think we figured out earlier today it's been about 10 years. Long time, and I go way, way back with you all. First time I was here was 30 years ago, and you won't remember this, but I remember it because I was new to churches, and I was doing a weekend retreat in Kansas City that weekend, Friday and Saturday, and then I left the retreat at about 7 o'clock Saturday to hightail it down here to be here, in time. No, I think I left actually about 9 o'clock Saturday night. The retreat was over at 9. I got here at midnight. The church had gotten me a motel room, and I was checking into the motel. I went to get my luggage, and no guitar. So here it is. It's midnight, no guitar, Saturday night. I called the music director, Harry, and I said, and I'd never met Harry. We still hadn't met. I said, Harry, I know this is hard to believe because I really seriously am a professional musician, but I don't have a guitar. I left it in Kansas City. And he said, he started laughing. He said, that's no problem. Our minister's got a lot of guitars. He'll bring one. And sure enough, he did. And everything worked fine, but pretty embarrassing. Anyway, thanks, everybody. So many familiar faces. And appreciate being so welcomed this morning, and thanks to Dee for doing all the heavy lifting to make this happen this morning, and of course Darcy back there on sound. I appreciate your help too. So I want to share some ideas, some thoughts with you about relationships, but first, there's a joke you might have heard about a candidate who's running for governor. This is kind of appropriate because we're in the middle of an election, and this is non-political, so don't worry. But there's a popular governor running for re-election in this particular state, and he's out touring the state, getting feedback and talking to people, and he wants to talk about some senior issues, so he gets taken to assisted living center where he meets some people, and he gets introduced to this woman, and he says, hi, how do you like living here? And she says, oh, I like it fine. He says, they're taking good care of you? She says, oh, they treat us great. I love it here. And he says, well, that's good. He says, how about the food? How's the food? She says, oh, the food's fantastic. We get to eat all we want. And he said, well, that does sound good. He said, by the way, do you know who I am? And she looked at him for a minute, and finally she said, well, no. But if you're not sure either, you can go up to the front desk and they'll tell you. I think sometimes that's all we need is just somebody to tell us, remind us who we really are, how wonderful we really are. We're going to come back to that idea in just a few minutes. But I feel like it's really important these days. So I want to talk a little bit about relationships, as I said. And let me start with a question. Anybody here besides me ever experienced relationship as a growth opportunity? Sometimes soulmates, sometimes cellmates. And I find this really fascinating because, I have so much to learn constantly. Have you ever thought about the fact that a lot of the saints and sages and spiritual masters didn't do it? Well, I thought about it. I wrote a song called Jesus Was a Bachelor. So the way this song came about was I was talking to a friend of mine named Bobby, and Bobby was bemoaning the fact that he'd been divorced twice. He couldn't make it work. He said it was just too hard, too much work, and he was kind of going on. And I said, Bobby, you shouldn't beat yourself up about this. A lot of relationships don't make it. It does take a certain commitment, work, learning, growth, all that stuff. He said, I said, it can be really hard. And he said, heck, yes, it's hard. Not even Jesus did it. So I said, Bob, just hold that thought. I went in the next room and started writing this song. So this is called Jesus Was a Bachelor. The man I most admire spread love throughout his world. The man I most admire was not out chasing girls. He looked around, saw the deal, said, I can't do this. I'm gonna get my 12 best buds, go drink wine and fish. Jesus was a bachelor, and so was Buddha too. Could it be that they knew something more than me and you? Buddha cut the ties that bind and headed for nirvana. Women tried to marry Jesus, but he said, I don't wanna. Relationships take lots of time and compromise at best. Maybe all the saints knew they could never pass that test. Take Mother Teresa, chose to do good works instead. They say nuns all marry Jesus, but, well, he's dead. Jesus was a bachelor, and so was Buddha too. Could it be that they knew something more than me and you? Buddha chose enlightenment over married life. Jesus couldn't save mankind and satisfy a wife. If all of your friends are saying I do and you just won't, take comfort in the fact that even Jesus said I don't. If you want to set your sights on more ethereal worlds, don't let your lower chakras chase material boys and girls. Jesus was a bachelor, and so was Buddha too. Could it be that they knew something more than me and you? Buddha left his family for much less worldly pastures. Jesus was too busy getting ready for the rapture. Well, some folks now dispute this thought that Jesus was unwed. A rabbi single in those days, there is no way, they've said. Well, as for me, I think the way of partnering is best, 'cause I'd like to be enlightened and still be having. Jesus was a bachelor, well, maybe, maybe not. Maybe he was married and that church in Rome forgot. Some say Mary Magdalene was wife and apostle. I don't know what you think, but I say, hey, it's possible. There's one more possibility we should not overlook. Maybe there's another way that Jesus was mistook. I know what I'm suggesting is not what some want to hear. But if it troubles you, then it's not love you feel, but fear. If Jesus was a bachelor, then maybe he was gay. That would be quite frightening for some Christians today. They'd like to ban gay marriage, but the Bible's been misconstrued. What kind of Christianity judges and excludes? All right. Thank you very much. Everybody's still here. Good. Occasionally we lose people on that one. There's a cartoonist you might have heard of or follow named Linda Berry, and she has a quote that love is like an exploding cigar we willingly smoke. Well, you know, of course we're going to smoke that cigar, because what feels better than love? Nothing. Love is what we live for. Love is what makes us feel the best. So of course we're going to smoke that cigar, but I don't think the cigar has to explode as often as it does. And I feel like one of the reasons it does is we get so much unfortunate, unhelpful cultural training and modeling about relationships, about how they're supposed to work. Now, I'm talking not only about romantic relationships, I'm talking about all kinds of relationships. But for now, let's just stick with romantic relationships. We get a lot of unhelpful messaging about how these are supposed to work and what they're actually for. And so you can illustrate this with movies, with books, with TV shows, certainly with advertising, but I like to use music because that's what I know best. So if you grew up here in the U.S., what my friend calls the excited states of America, you probably, almost certainly, grew up listening to what I call radio station WVLS, Whiny Victim Love Songs. And by the time you get to adulthood, and especially middle age, we have heard so many of these songs that they've infected us in ways we don't actually understand the breadth of. But I'm going to demonstrate it. Now, before I do, I want to clarify what I mean by whiny victim love songs. I'm not talking about sad songs that say, you're gone and I miss you. That's a valid idea for a song. If you lose somebody, it hurts, you have to grieve. A sad song can help us grieve and move through that grief. I'm not talking about those songs. I'm talking about songs that go way past that into the universe of total sickness. It's almost an alternative universe, asking for pain in return for love or acceptance or even just attention. And there are thousands of songs that do this. So as a public service, I've been collecting them. And I have this list called the top 10 whiny victim love songs. It's hard to get it down to 10. I have some favorites, but there's so many more than we have time for. But let me just illustrate this. And we'll start with a group called the Cardigans. That's about a 15, 20-year-old song. It was a hit. I'm going to play one verse, just one verse. And just listen to this verse and imagine yourself actually saying this to another human being. So I cry and I plead and I beg. Oh, love me, just say you love me. Fool me, go on and fool me. Love me, pretend you love me. Leave me, just say you need me. Now, is it just me or is that relationship getting off to a rocky start? I don't have a lot of hope for that one. Okay, Elvis. Everybody knows Elvis. Treat me like a fool, treat me cruel, but love me. Break my faithful heart, tear it all apart, but love me. Kind of a mixed message. Smokey Robinson, I don't like you, but I love you. Seems like I'm always thinking of you, though you treat me badly. I love you madly. You really got a hold on me. All right, country. It's always a gold mine. You must think I look bad with a smile, for you haven't let me wear one in quite a while. Still I keep coming back. How can this be? Don't you ever get tired of hurting me? Okay, that's an old country song. Here's a new one. Here's a recent hit. If you gotta be somebody's heartbreak, if you gotta be somebody's mistake, be mine. Happy Valentine's Day. Then there's a subcategory that I call the death songs. There's so many of these, they all say the same thing. Can't live with living is without you. Everybody can't live. I can't give anymore. You see how easy that was? They're in there. They're not going away. And there's newer songs that take this idea down even lower. How can I live without you? I want to know. How can I breathe without you if you ever go? So if you leave, I quit breathing. No pressure. All right, here's one of my favorite lines, just a great line. When a man loves a woman, sleep out in the rain. If she says that's the way it ought to be. No, that's not happening. Another huge country hit. If you listen to country, you've heard this. Oh, I wish that I could hurt that way again. At least I had you every now and then. At times you would desert me, how the emptiness would hurt me. But your coming back was always worth the pain. Oh, I wish that I could hurt that way again. I mean, how did he even sing it with a straight face? It's so sick. Sometimes you'll hear one with humor written into it, and you know that the awareness is dawning. They're kind of bubbling up. Put another log on the fire. Cook me up some bacon and some beans. Then go out to the car and change the tire. Darn my socks and sew my old blue jeans. Come on, baby, fill my pipe and then go fetch my slippers. Boil me up another pot of tea. Put another log on the fire, babe. And come and tell me why you're leaving me. Sometimes all you need is the titles. I collect song titles. I have hundreds of titles of real songs, like She Was Pure as the New Fallen Snow, but She Drifted. I Still Hold Her Body, but I think I've lost her mind. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you won't leave me, I'll find someone who will. And my favorite, I'm so miserable without you, it's like you were here. Yeah, you see where this is going. And we could do this the whole rest of the morning and halfway through the afternoon. There's no shortage of songs. But I think you see what I'm getting at here, that these messages about relationships being dysfunctional without even acknowledging that this is a really dysfunctional song are everywhere. Just walking through life, you're going to hear a ton of them. You're going to see it on TV too. So what to do about that? Well, the first thing is to be conscious, is to be aware. Hopefully now, if you've never heard me do that before, hopefully now, next time you listen to the lyrics and you think, well, that's kind of sick, you'll start laughing. You know, it becomes material for comedy. Awareness has grown. So that's the first thing. Can you see how, the other thing is, can you see how if you are buying into these ideas, if you have these sort of unrealistic expectations about relationships, and right now we're talking about romantic relationships, but we could be talking about any kind, you can see how much harder they would be if you have these kinds of expectations. So let's look at it this way. I like to think of it as a bucket. Each of us has a bucket. And in this bucket, we have all of our self-esteem, self-regard, self-acceptance, self-love, self-confidence. This is our bucket. Ideally, we're operating from a full bucket. If our bucket's full, we can move through the world confidently, efficiently, and helpfully. We can give constantly to others from a full bucket. But if it's not full, then we're constantly having to fill it up. Or we're constantly looking to other people to fill up our bucket. And worse, if our bucket has a little hole, a leak, and all of that good stuff is draining out slowly or quickly or however fast, then we're constantly having to replenish. And if we're in a relationship, we may be looking at all of our relationships to help fill our own bucket. Now, this may be okay in the short term, but you can see how long term it's going to be really stressful, non-productive, probably not going to work. This is why it's so important to come to a place like Unity of Springfield and congregate with other abnormal people. Because what's normal, what is statistically normal in our culture, is frequently not healthy. It's whiny victim love songs. It's advertising that tells you you need to be different or have something you don't have to be okay. These messages are everywhere. So it's good that we're here, that we can counter those, and we can come all the time. We can get reminded. We can get our buckets filled up. This is one place we can get filled up. The way I really like to illustrate this is with a story, a true story in a song. Some of you have heard this before because I've undoubtedly sung it here and told this story, but it's about a woman named Evie McDonald. And in 1980, Evie McDonald was diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And Evie was a nurse, a young woman, actually 33, master's degree in nursing. So she knew all about ALS. She knew it was a fatal illness. And because she was so young, it took the doctors a while to get the diagnosis right. And by the time they figured out what she had, she was pretty advanced. And they told her the best you can hope for is maybe about 6 months. 6 months. Well, Evie knew they were right. She went home and she was pretty angry about this. She was a very productive, high activity individual. And now, after a few months of this, in her words, she was a bowl of Jell-O in a wheelchair. So she raged about it for a couple of days, but then she just had this thought, okay, this is it. This is what I got left. This is all I got. That's the deal. So, is there some way that something I can do to get the most out of this 6 months, this time I have left? What can I do to maybe even somehow, maybe make it a good 6 months? That's what she asked herself. So this song is about what she decided to do. I drank way too much coffee this morning, and I'm nervous from the coffee, and it's affecting my guitar playing. But here we go. Evie had a body like a bowl of Jell-O in a wheelchair. Evie had a nerve disease, all she could do was sit there. Evie was wasting away, muscles all in decay. She heard the doctor say 6 months to live. Now Evie always said she hated her body, she was overweight. And now a disease was making her thin, what a twist of fate. She was almost out of time. Somewhere in her mind, there was something she had to find out if she could give. She said it's something called unconditional love, supposed to be really wonderful stuff. And if you can get enough, you can find peace. So in the time that I've got left, I've got to find some for myself. I believe unconditional love is what I need. Since all Evie could do was just sit in the wheelchair, Evie rolled it over and sat there in front of the mirror. She looked at her body and caught every negative thought. And though there were a lot, she wrote them all down. Now every day Evie would sit there naked at the mirror and look, till she found one good thing about herself to write in her book. And after a few months' time, her thoughts began to grow kind, and the negative words in her mind could not be found. She said it feels like unconditional love, and it's really wonderful stuff. And if you can get enough, you can find peace. So in the time that I've got left, I've got to find some for myself. I believe unconditional love is what I need. But a funny thing happened when Evie started learning to love herself. The deterioration just stopped and then reversed itself. And Evie was moving her arms and legs and starting to feel. Yes, a funny thing happened. Evie started to heal. She said it's something called unconditional love, and it's really wonderful stuff. And if you can get enough, you can find peace. So in the time that I've got left, I've got to find some for myself. I believe unconditional love is what I need. It's in the time that we've got left, we've got to find some for ourselves. I believe unconditional love is what we need. Thank you. So, for those of you that don't know the story, Evie was the first person to ever recover from ALS, completely recover. It's 44 years later. She's still recovered. She's doing fine. She's actually left nursing and went to seminary and became a Methodist minister and had a congregation in upstate New York for about 20 years. Retired from that. Now she's moved to Arizona and finally writing a book about everything. So I'm looking forward to that. She's an amazing person to be around, as you can imagine. As somebody that's achieved what she's achieved just in her consciousness. Evie's bucket is constantly full, and she's learned how to keep it full, and she's learned how to give her best stuff away to everybody all the time. She really is somebody that does that, and it's not phony. The thing that Evie likes to stress when she talks about this is that this physical healing that she had happen to her was not what she was going for. She didn't think that was possible. She knew she had a fatal illness. All she was trying to do was get to this place of peace and love and acceptance with herself before she died. If she could do that, that would be enough for this life. So she practiced. You know how we talk about spiritual practice. Well, every day she wheeled herself into that, or had somebody push her into that mirror room without any clothes on, and she'd sit there and look at herself in the mirror. And in the beginning, all kinds of negative stuff would come up because in addition to being overweight her whole life, she had polio as a kid. So she has a couple of withered limbs. So a lot of negative body stuff. Well, she wrote all of it down. Every day she would just write it down. And then before she got up from that session, and she did 3 sessions a day, she would find at least one good thing about herself or her life to write on a new page. And then the negative stuff, she had a little spiritual practice. She would say, God, these are my feelings, these are my thoughts. I know they're mine, but I don't know what to do with them. You take them. And every day, 3 times a day, she would just give that away to God. Surrender that to God. And every day, one new thing on the good list. And eventually, all these days and weeks and months go by, and the good list is starting to get a lot longer than the bad list. And eventually, the day came, and she said it was a specific day that she rolled into that mirror room, and it was like crossing a threshold. Same body, still didn't work, still couldn't feed herself, clothe herself. But she looked at it in the mirror, and all the negative stuff was gone. And all she felt was this compassion and love for this being looking at her in the mirror, and the body that was still serving her. And she thought, wow, this is amazing. Well, maybe I should just keep doing this. So she did. And eventually that body started to heal, turn around, and like I said, she's recovered. I don't know if anyone else has. I haven't heard of it, if they have. But the lessons for us are, of course, really obvious. It's really important to fill your bucket up and to have a way to do that. And here's the nugget for relationships, and I mean all of our relationships. Just see if you agree with this, because this is what I've noticed powerfully. On the days that I'm feeling great about Greg, for whatever reason, my bucket's full, I'm feeling fantastic about me. It's amazing how much other people don't bug me. It's amazing how much more compassion, tolerance, patience I have for everybody else. How much more understanding, how much slower I am to judge, to anger with a full bucket. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I feel like to have a spiritual practice, and we saw a lot of this in the reading today, this morning, before I got up here. That kind of reading. To have a spiritual practice where we do that every day. We surrender the stuff we don't want to God, and we fill up our bucket. Maybe when we start a list, like Evie did. I feel like it would be suspiciously healthy for all of us, for anyone, to do that. And I feel like it would make a big difference in all your relationships. It does for me. Okay, so I suggest now that maybe we go into a little meditative time. Take these ideas and thoughts into meditation. Would that be all right? So I invite you to just relax, get comfortable. Take a nice big slow breath. Relax into your chair. Let it support your weight. Just breathe in the peace of God and allow yourself to breathe out everything that is not that. I just want to do a quick little mental exercise here. So with your eyes closed, just imagine you're walking down the street. Maybe a street in your neighborhood, people you know. Or if it works better for you, another place with people you know. Some you know well, some you don't know very well, but the point is that there are other people around. And I want you to feel this. I want you to feel that your bucket is completely full. You love yourself unconditionally. You accept yourself unconditionally. Everything about yourself you accept, you love unconditionally. You are a pure, infinite being, and love is your source. You're a light of love. You have so much love that giving it away brings you more love. You are always completely filled with love and acceptance. And now in this state, imagine that you meet someone on this walk or in this place who you've never really felt comfortable around. Maybe there's some history, maybe there's an issue. But try to imagine how much better any interaction would go with a full bucket. Loving yourself absolutely, completely in this space at this time with no feeling of lack whatsoever. How might you interact with this person? Or would you even interact? Would it even be necessary? Just continue on your way. Let's take another big, slow breath. And see ourselves in a place of beauty, nature, quiet, stream, waterfall, birds. Thank God for the absolute miracle of our existence. The mystery and the miracle of our existence. A little saying by Phillips Brooks to finish our meditation. Do not pray for easy lives. Pray to be stronger, men and women. Do not pray for tasks equal to your powers. Pray for powers equal to your tasks. Then the doing of your work, your daily life, shall be no miracle, but you shall be a miracle, and wonder at the blessings that come to you every minute by the grace of God. So let's take a nice big breath and come back to the room. Just breathe that in for a minute. Just go ahead and, you know what happens when we all kind of meditate together like that? There's a lot of science that shows when we do that, we actually align our brain waves in a way that's kind of important, kind of profound, and they stay aligned for a few minutes. So while we're in alignment, I think it would be good to share our tithes and our offerings and our gifts. And so if you want to get ready to do that, we'll do it together. And after that, I'll finish with one more song.
So yes, we definitely invite the ushers to come forward, different ways to give, and we have many different ways to give. We have cash, we have cards, we have checks, money orders, cartoonish bags with dollar signs stuffed with bills. We take it all. So if you please join us in our offertory blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. It is now time for our announcements. So please join us at the Fellowship Hall after service for our Friendship Sunday potluck. And then at 1 p.m., please come back to the sanctuary for Greg's concert. Woo, Greg! I like that guy. Cost to attend the concert is $20. Today at 4:30 p.m., Gene Andrus will facilitate practical prayer, energy for healing. And then at 6 p.m. tonight, there will be a meditation, and that is open to everyone. This Tuesday, September 10th, from 5 to 7 p.m., we are hosting the Cold Weather Crisis Shelter Open House. If you would like to learn more about what the Cold Weather Crisis Shelter season looks like in Springfield, please stop by. All agencies involved in this initiative will be present. I encourage all of you to come. This has been a transformative thing for our church. It impacts all of us. It impacts our community. It is good for us. It is good for your soul. The mat makers meet every Thursday at 10 a.m., and their goal is to make 100 mats in 100 days, and they would love your help. Next Sunday, in the 9:15 New Thought and World Religion class, Gene Andrus will begin a two-part series titled Energy Body. And our 8 items and 8 weeks donation drive for our crisis cold weather shelter is underway. The item for today was coffee, and the item for next Sunday is hot chocolate. Bring all 8 items before October 31st and be entered into a drawing for $100. If you don't like to shop, we have an Amazon wish list, and you can order all the 8 items, and they'll be shipped directly to the church. And our 4th annual Cornhole and Karaoke is coming up on September 21st. If you want to enter the Cornhole tournament, registration is $20 per team, and you can sign up in the foyer. There will be food, drink, and music, so come out and enjoy the afternoon, whether you play in the tournament or not. Do you like concrete? Well, if you do, we are doing a group visit to Unity Village on October 8th. You guys know the concrete, a lot of good concrete up there. If you would like to go, please sign up in the foyer. The tour begins at 10 a.m. Those who want to carpool will need to meet here at the church at 6:15 in the morning. After the tour, you are free to explore the grounds. Lunch has to be ordered in advance, and menus are in the foyer, so please fill out one and turn it into the office. And finally, Linda, you have an announcement?
Good morning, everyone. We are happy to announce that we're going to have a new member ceremony on Sunday, October 20th during our service. The bylaws require that you have been attending regularly for 6 months and attend the new member orientation that will be held the Sunday before on October 13th, right after the service for that one. Applications are in the table and in the foyer, and you can also pick one up from the office. If you have been coming here for at least 6 months or more, please do consider. We would love to invite you to be a member. Membership is just one little more step in a commitment toward this church and toward your commitment to Unity as a whole.
Thank you, Linda. If you would please stand and join us in our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Greg's going to lead us in the peace song. Immediately after that, stop in the foyer. You have books, you have CDs, you have
T-shirts.
Headbands? No headbands. Next time. So make a stop there and then join us in the fellowship hall for our Friendship Sunday. Mr. Tamblyn.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace with God. All right, everybody.